Welcome to Dave Talks Viz. Today I'll be talking about making sure you've got all the data you require to keep your server humming along nicely. Here's a sneak peek of what you'll be able to look at after you've enabled this and got it all set up. I've had this running for a while, and here you can see about a year's worth of data visualized. How many users I've got accessing Tableau, what the peak times are like, what those server response times are like, in very quick, easy to read formats. And you can really delve into this information. You get a lot of information about what content and how your user behavior is changing over time, and what potential actions you might need to do to keep your server running nicely. Some of these steps will require Tableau admin access, but once they're set up, you'll be able to treat the rest like Tableau content and share those permissions out however you want to and works best in your environment. The real benefit of this is anybody you want to be able to see the performance of their content and what they can do to potentially make it better for the users and how it's affecting the overall server can be given out to whoever you need to be, and not have to do it the other way around where you make everybody admins of your server, and that's just a recipe for disaster. On to setting some of this up. A default install of Tableau does not collect this performance data, so let's turn this one on. This one's a few easy clicks. If you just go into the standard admin connection, you can actually go to each particular site and tell it to start collecting performance data. Now that's enabled, you'll be able to use the default admin views to see some of that visualization performance. They provide the info, but I always end up jumping from one page to another and looking into the details to try and figure out what's actually going on or where I want to look at. And I normally find it a bit tricky to get to the crux of whatever I'm trying to find out. So the next step to really allow us to do our own development work on this is to enable the data connection so we connect into that database. Tableau has some help documentation on this one. It's just a matter of following that documentation and setting up a username and password. Once you've got that set up, you should be able to connect into it from Tableau Desktop. However, there are a few catches here. You may have network security preventing access from Tableau Desktop to this information on your Tableau server. To get this published to Tableau server, there's a few different ways to do this if that network security is a problem. If it isn't, just start up Tableau Desktop, connect in, make the connection, and we'll be able to do the rest to create the data connection. If it is a problem, there's a couple of little tricks. One is you can put Tableau Desktop temporarily on your server, create the connection, publish it to Tableau server, and you've gotten over that hurdle. Maybe you have some IT users who do have access to it, and you'll be able to guide them through with some of these steps for how to publish that data source for you to use. There's one other way around this, which is you can just publish a TDS file that someone else has built onto your Tableau server and edit the connection details. You can't do this using Tableau Desktop, but you can do it using the Tableau API. It's a bit tricky, but you can use it using that method. We may go into that in another talk altogether. And remember, if you're having any problems with any of these steps, feel free to comment or send me an email at halfdave@gmail.com. Now here's another catch. Tableau only keeps a short amount of data. For some history data, it keeps a full half year, which is pretty good. For background tasks, this is only about 30 days. And this has left me short on a few occasions, but really hasn't left me high and dry. But for visual performance data, it only keeps 7 days. I really don't find this enough to be able to do my investigations and see what's going on in the server long term, what areas I should be looking at, particularly in areas of business where they mainly look at weekly or monthly information, and just having 7 days worth of information doesn't give me enough information to look at. And for the Viz performance history, there's no configuration option to make it longer. I get this, there can be performance considerations here, and if they kept long history of Viz performance in a database, perhaps there's other trade-offs that could occur. There could be other slowdowns, and obviously we don't want that. So what can we do about this? Well, I've heard of companies creating separate servers with another database and writing scripts where they move the data over on a daily basis or even more frequently, so they're creating a whole second database and moving the data over all the time. And this is a gold solution. There's a couple of reasons why it's gold. One is you'll truly have all your data there ready to go in another database, but two, it's going to take you a lot of gold coin to get it up and running. So I'm about to go into the method that I use, and when I thought of it, all I could think of was, why didn't I think of this sooner? And why hasn't anybody else told me about it? I've published this solution on the Tableau forums a while ago, and I'll put a link to that below. So let's go in and make the connection. As I said, you're going to need a Tableau desktop, somewhere where it has access to that Tableau server database. I've taken the easy option here. I'm just going to run it on Tableau server and connect in. These are the credentials I set up in the earlier step, just following Tableau's instructions. Let's bring in the table HTTP requests. Let's make sure we bring in the table and not the view. The view starts with an underscore, whereas the table actually starts with the letter H. Now there's a couple of other tables I can also bring in here. It's your choice whether you want to bring those in now and create a bigger data connection, or if you want to leave it a little bit smaller and just join that data in when you need it, should you need it. When I first set this up, I set up with the HTTP request and just the site information, no other tables. And that's worked very well for me. Now's a good time to add any data calculations that can make the connection easier to use. I myself usually add time zone conversions and duration in seconds. To create duration in seconds, take the completed date and subtract the created date, and then multiply this by hours, minutes, and seconds. So 24 times 60 times 60. You'll now have the duration in seconds that the particular action took to occur. I find this is one of the most powerful pieces of information and really help you to figure out which workbooks you should focus your energy on. Once we've set up this data connection in Tableau Desktop, I actually recommend publishing it twice. Once as a live connection, and this is a good connection that you can use for looking at what's going on Tableau server right now. Whenever you want to look and see what's happening, you can just go into this connection and see what's happening. It's also good for running dashboard alerts on if you need a way of having Tableau server letting you know when something partially is going wrong. If Tableau server is going completely wrong, internal Tableau alerting is not going to let you know you need something external. But this method of having Tableau alert on itself actually works pretty well. I've been running with it for quite a while, and just having it pop up on my mobile with a little email notification saying, hey, the average reach time is getting quite slow, has worked very well and really allowed us to stay on top of our performance on Tableau server and quickly find out when someone does something out of the ordinary. To publish the incremental extract version, of course, we need to click the extract button, and then down in the incremental information, we want to select the field ID. And really this is going to be the bit which allows Tableau to continually build up this data and keep it growing, so you really get a good amount of data that you can work with. And this is what those visors that we saw earlier were built on. It's just an incremental refreshing extract from this table. So what are things you might want to watch out for long term with this? Well, one, upgrades can break it. Sometimes Tableau changes the columns that are available in these tables, and when that happens, an incremental refresh doesn't want to refresh anymore. And if you do a full refresh, you're going to lose your big history. So if you do ever run into this situation, it's quite simple. Just take a copy and then archive that away and start building up that history again. If we do need to look at the data side by side, we can always use a tool like Tableau Prep or something to join those tables back together and relook and do a one-off analysis. But I'll accept that every now and then with an upgrade, my big lot of history I'm going to have to archive away and I'm going to have to start fresh again. I'll deal with it. This video may seem a bit out of place, but there's a reason why I'm doing this first. It gets us the data. This data is going to help us with a lot of the videos we do further on. So if we start building this data up now, when we get round to those next videos, we're going to have a nice pool of data to start working with. If I ever speak to someone about Tableau server and what to do and how to monitor performance, I'll say, go do this first so you start collecting your data and then we can start discussing it, because then we've got data to work with. Feel free to ask me questions. I've deliberately kept these videos quick and to the point, which meant I've scurried over various bits nice and quickly. You may want more details. Thanks. I'm going to go start working on the next video, all about how we can use the data we've just captured. Don't forget, you can contact me if you've got any questions or like me to go into anything in deeper detail.